Welcome, Sojourners. You have found yourself a cozy place here at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Fairy and the Free. In this most recent episode, the Sojourners are speaking with none other than the God of Poetry, receiving a couple quests and then deciding on what path they will take in their next adventure. They spend a little bit more time in Baldtop Library, and as you will see, get themselves into quite the antics. And so for now, our story continues. After uncovering a plot by members of the Cult of the Dead Three, the Sojourners rested in Baldtop Brewery. Minstrels played quietly as pilgrims chatted about the news in the wide world. Ocean is aflame with revolution, some said. They had it coming, with plenty of time to prepare. Anyone with a sense of foresight could have seen the doom of the noble houses. Others whispered, the Elithria tribe has abandoned them, and if Baldtop doesn't reform its ways, do you think Elithria would abandon this place of learning as well? Still among the whispers, the Sojourners snacked and listened, until a large man sat down confidently and introduced himself as Millil, the God of Poetry. His booming laughter filled the room and amplified the musical performance. Soon enough, folks shut down their noisy and gossiping chatter and listened to the ensemble of poets in peace. Meanwhile, Millil sits across from you and begins to speak. But in this place of Baldtop Brewery, what do you notice? And to where do your eyes go? Tryina, you are sitting there, a table for four, next to your Sojourners, and in this busy place of merriment with none other than the God of Poetry sitting across from you, we have a moment to peer into your thoughts and to your eyesight.
So he's just sat down. I think my attention would be entirely just captivated by him sitting down, introducing himself, saying, I invented poetry. And this is something which definitely catches her attention as she's very fond of poetry. So she sits a little straighter and perks up and just kind of peers at him. And it's actually a little bit in awe, like when you meet a celebrity. So for one of the very few times in her life, she has very little to say.
He sees your mouth partly agape and just winks a little bit at you, and as a flicker of light, inspiration bursts in your mind. And suddenly you have the string of thoughts that come into your head, like words trying to connect, hold hands with each other to form lines of poetry and rhyme. Your fingers begin to itch, reaching instinctively for a pen. Samoon, sitting there in this very unfamiliar place, still cold outside, though the weather has begun to warm up and the snow has begun to melt a little. In this place at Baldtop Brewery, to where do your eyes go and your thought wander?
I'm taking in, so it's still, I would assume, early morning, mid-morning, so brunch
Indeed.
time. I'm just taking in, like, everybody seems a bit more jolly, as I guess word about a cure has been going around. So it's nice to see the energy. Hearing Millil introduce himself, he responds, "Ooh, I have a question. What do you mean you are the God of Poetry? What does that mean?"
As if to prove his present form, he reaches and samples a few of the chips in the bowl next to you. He dips them confidently in the salsa, smiles and crunches down upon them, smacking. He burps and says, well, funny you should ask. Maybe you're not from around here, maybe you don't know the way things work, but it's no big thing. I'm one of the lesser gods, but there's nothing less about us. The way it functionally works is there's gods of power, and gods of love, and gods of knowledge, like myself. Though I don't really have any say-so in the going-ons of the world or any of the creation process. He taps his head. It's all up here. Oh, and taps his chest. Also in here. And yeah, I mean what I say. I invented poetry. There's just no two ways around it. So anytime someone has an inspirational thought or a line of poetry, it probably stem back from something I did or said one time. And play your cards right, I can get you to the top of any kind of entertainment profession involving language, words, music. Like that fellow over there, and he points to a small halfling kinfolk man that's nervously about to approach the stage. His knees are knocking together and he's holding a crumpled bit of paper that's been rewritten a dozen times. He wipes the sweat from his brow and takes a hard swallow. Yeah, I might be inclined to just do it for him, give him the right words to say, but something about us gods of knowledge, one thing we've learned that if we hand mortals too much information at once, it tends to drive them mad. So I've learned to pump the brakes a little bit. There was an incident about a couple, maybe 1,000 years ago where mines exploded and everyone lost their minds. It was terrible business.
Well, that sounds quite exhilarating. So, if I may say, if I were to invent something and then people would attribute it to me, would I be a god too?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you were immortal and all that stuff.
So there has to be an immortality there.
Well, that's what a god is, my friend. And he kind of taps you patronizingly on the shoulder. But don't worry, you'll get there one day. Don't worry. If that is indeed your aspiration, my friend, I do not stand in the way of dreams ever. And then he winks a little flirtatiously at Tryina.
Her face goes bright red.
He then pulls apart his big beard into a fork and kind of begins tugging on it musingly, as if he's thinking about something right now.
Well, Samoon came back from the dead. He's almost immortal.
Oh, is that so? I would love to hear the tale if you got the time. Gods know I do. Yeah, I know. That always gets a laugh. I love it, man. See, that's the thing the thing about coming to Bald Top is everybody's always in for a good laugh. But no doubt things around here have been a little grim, so I've been staying far away. But as of tonight, party's kind of picking up. But yeah, go ahead, my friend.
Well, sometimes I think in the midst of a dark place, laughter can be a good medicine. But no, I mean, I was not in control of me coming back to life. I don't know what overcame me, but I don't know. So if I become immortal and I invent something really neat, and then people attribute it to me, I can become a god. That is amazing to think about. Want to press onto something like that. That sounds very exhausting, but good for you. And he just gives you a thumb up. It is nice to meet you, sir.
Hey, well, it's just nice to know your place in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not all peaches and roses. There's plenty of competition of all kinds of beings that definitely want to take your job. It's a cutthroat organization being a god.
But if you invented the poetry, how can somebody then take your job?
There's more brilliant minds than mine and definitely more ambitious minds. That's for sure. The gods of knowledge, there are far more of us than there are gods of power or gods of love. Gods of power, they stand far off. Gods like Lathander, the Dark Ones especially, rule the events of time and space. Big stuff like that really bores my mind, that's for sure. Gods of love like Maliki and Morden care for their creation and honestly can't do a mumble-crusting thing about it, but people adore them, that's for sure. People like me, I just share information and teach people secrets of the universe, that's all.
Oh, that is more than I can comprehend. I do have one question though. You mentioned the gods of darkness. Who are these gods?
Gods of darkness?
Yeah, you said they're power gods and they have control over the dark things.
I mean, Samoon, obviously, if they're a god of darkness, they must really like, dark, and they like to turn out the lights,
Well, I mean, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. But I am just curious for my own interests.
Well, the gods of darkness, to be more speaking of present events, gods like Bane of war, manages all things of war in that business. Lord Ball, the god of murder. I think you met
I don't
a couple
like that one, and I do not ascribe to his beliefs at all.
That's a
I
good
second
thing.
that motion.
And you talked about getting things attributed to you. Ball definitely gets, most of the time, everyone believes that every murder is under his watchful eye.
So would you say that Baal is powerful enough over, say, like, the Fiend?
The fiends? Well, aren't you just full of all kinds of questions? I'm gonna have to start charging by the hour.
Oh, no more questions. This is the last. I do not want to pay for questions.
Tell you what, I like that laughter is best medicine. I'm gonna rip that off from you and we'll call it an even trade. How about that?
Well, I mean, words are free, so have at thee.
Yeah, you tell that. Words are free. Hey, check out this jokester. He thinks words are free. Another round for my free-thinking friend here. Thinks that he can say whatever he wants. All right, my friend, come here. And he kind of pulls you in really close. You could smell the wind on his beard, as well as a little bit of catnip. He grabs you by the face and he's got you in a hold. And then he grabs Bertie's head and he grabs Tryina's head until all three of your heads are like in this really tight, close huddle. He says, fiends are another thing. They're another kind of being. There's only one fiend that's really ascended into godhood. That's Asmodeus. You don't want to go mess around with him. He's cunning, smarter than any lawyer you've ever met. He'll buy your soul from you and sell it back to you for double the price. He pushes back and the music begins to burst like again. A round of applause issues out from somewhere. Some poet, some bard began performing, and Milil kind of takes a polite bow in the room. So anyway, that's your business. I'd like to get straight to mine, if you've got the time. But before he begins to speak, Bertie, during this time, what do you notice? And to where do your eyes wander?
Bertie is just drinking beer and gulping it, so she's starting to get a little lightheaded, and she kind of looks over to the kitchen where Dumpo was, and kind of with remorse about that interchange with Dumpo. She thought that she had a decent rapport with Dumpo. And then she just engaged with the conversation, trying to keep up.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I want. Feel free to interrupt anytime with any questions. So, I have a friend. We don't really get along in any other way than that he's a fantastic musician. The Prince of Autumn is his name, from Dreamland. Land of Fairies, if you're not familiar with it. And Tryina, you would know exactly who the Prince of Autumn is. Well, he went out on a little out-of-world trip last month in Skyland, or Skyworld, at an oversized mansion of Count Whisperwind. Well, he drank a little too much, got rowdy, thrown out of the party for his disorder. To put it nicely, he is not welcome back to the plane of air, ever. Problem is, he has a little green swan named Frisia. Most darling little thing, follows him wherever he goes. But that night, she didn't follow him, if you get my meaning. She just vanished between his blackouts and black eyes. Since then, he's been incredibly remorseful and just won't take any moment to jam with me. I understand the swan means a lot to him. I mean, I bought him 5 others. They were all green. Even one of them was better than the first one, could even talk. Heck, he doesn't care for anything other than his parted love. And besides flaking out on the band, I'm afraid he might neglect his duties in the courts of the Fae, and, other cunning creatures might decide to move in and take over, managing autumn. I mean, can you imagine if they changed the fall season and brought in something terrible? So anyway, I would ask you, I understand y'all are the adventuring type, maybe unattached a little bit, possibly in debt. I don't know. But I would ask you if you could go to Skyworld, find out what happened to that poor creature by any means possible, bring it back. I would be ever so grateful. He begins to pat his hands on his chest. I mean, I can't provide much power, and to be quite honest, no love at all. I know my place, but my knowledge of my craft expands the universe. If there's any way I could help you accomplish this. So, he puts his hands on the table, kind of pats it twice. I leave it up to you. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Otherwise, whistle for me twice, and he whistles a familiar tune, and I'll be there within seconds to hear out your response. His face softens, the twinkle in his eye dims a little bit. And how do you respond? Tryina.
What do I know about the Prince of Autumn?
The Prince of Autumn, the court of the Fae, manage the seasons. Mm-hmm. And in any way possible. So they don't act as gods necessarily, but they do hold noble courts, manage the seasons that are manifested in Bonsaro. The Prince of Autumn is mostly known for his abuse of privilege and wealth and power and lavish parties, very indulgent. In characteristically, autumn being the season of plenty, he is usually not wont for lack. And so, quite honestly, a little selfish. Okay. But for the most part, he is a somewhat kind-hearted fae.
Would I perceive him as someone who could help me with my current predicaments? As an ally that I might want to win?
Yes. In the court of the Fae, votes count heavily. So having more votes on your side would greatly help. And that's why many times people make alliances with unseelie Fae, because their votes count just as much. So there's tons of intrigue and political drama that can go on in the courts of the Fae. So any vote would count. And he is well liked. He is very wealthy. Yeah, so he is a very well liked person.
Gotcha. Okay, so Tryina is just listening to this with rapture, and she's just sitting up straighter and straighter as she talks. And when Millel finishes his pitch, she's just like, "Wait, you know the Prince of Autumn? Like, you really know the Prince of Autumn?"
Oh yeah, I mean, fantastic voice, wonderful musician. We met together a while back, and from time to time like to play music together. He's a nice guy.
If we helped with the swan, would you introduce me?
Oh my! If you brought back his pet swan, his baby of all babies, look at this, and he begins to show you this hologram in his hand of all these images, these drawings of the Prince of Autumn with his favorite swan, and they're together in the park, and they're hand in feather and dancing, and he's holding and cradling this swan like a little child. I mean, look at this. This guy is obsessed. Borderline, it's pathological the way he loves this pet. I don't get it, but the guy won't play anything and move on past, and like I said, I'm just afraid he's going to lose his place in the court.
Oh, this is very serious. I think we should see to it right away. How would we get there to Skyland?
Well, and he looks to Samoon and Bertie.
I don't know how well I could float. And she kind of pokes at her belly and is like, I don't understand Skyworld and how it works, but I pretty much sink wherever I go.
Well, getting there, I would be more than happy to get you a ride. I mean, there's really no honest way you could travel there on your own. My ride of choice is a cat dragon, lucky one. His name's Catrick. He's not my pet, and by any stretch of the imagination, if you ever call him my pet, I will make sure that everything you say from here on out is just utter nonsense. He is my friend. I don't own him. He doesn't own me. We just have a mutual understanding and a couple favors we owe each other. So he would be more than happy to take you there to Skyworld. It's that direction. No, wait. Technically, it doesn't matter which direction you go as long as you push beyond the borders of the sky. Beyond the sunsets and the clouds, you begin to feel that the earth beneath you is disappearing. But, hey, my friend Bertie, there's plenty of places to put your hairy little feet on the ground, that's for sure. The place that I'm actually asking you to go is Count Whisperwind's mansion. It's in a sky city, and there's lots of land to stamp on. It's basically a floating island. And, if you fall in Skyworld, it's not the end of all things for mortals. There's all kinds of ways to bounce back. If you continue to fall, you will go beyond any unexplored realm. No telling what lurks down there in the depths of the sky, as they say. But I would not ask you to do something that I did not think you could accomplish. He looks to you, Samoon.
Oh, Miss Sylvia was just telling me about the sky world but a few moments before we got here. That is an intriguing place to me. And I am all for helping out whomever I can. But I will look to my companions. What would you guys like to do? This sounds like a good opportunity for us, and I feel like Skyworld might be a bit warmer.
It's beautiful this time of year and technically has no real time. The only thing you would see is a large glowing orb that provides light to about 75% of the place. I, pats the table twice, will let you take time to deliberate. I'm sure any questions you have, I have already answered. Plus, I'm a little late for a date. Tryina.
Wait, I have one more question.
Yes.
So if we did this and I helped the Prince of Autumn, could it be maybe off the books? Maybe so none of the other courts found out? Could you maybe hide my presence somehow?
I think that might be the first time someone's asked me to help them without any sort of credit. I don't see why not. That's fairly simple. Anonymity comes at a free price.
Okay. As long as I get to meet the Prince of Autumn without anybody knowing that I've met the Prince of Autumn.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. He bids you adieu and begins to walk outside a Baldtop Brewery, leaving the three of you to deliberate. The music begins to play up a little bit, and a line of poets begin to start reciting simple poetry and songs up on the grandstand. A couple more beers are brought to you each, and the food begins to die down. The bottom of the bowls are now visible. How do you proceed?
Well, that is quite an offer for an adventure for us. I've never been to Skyland, or World, whatever they call it. But I do look forward to being in warmer climate again. What do you guys think we should do? I have already returned the book to Mr. Crankshaft, by the way. Although I think we should be honoring of our word that in 7 days' time we should meet him for a drink. I should have asked Melil that. How long will this journey be? I don't know how far away Skyland is, do you?
I have no idea. He said we had to go past the sky and the sunsets. I didn't even know that was possible.
He did make it seem you could accomplish it within a week, assuming you could find the creature.
I mean, how hard is it to go into this guy's mansion and find a swan? It's a pretty big bird, and it's green.
Swans are kind of hard to catch. I mean, I've had swans before, not as pets, but as stew. But swan stew tastes pretty good. I don't understand what it's like to have a pet swan, but this guy seems to like it, so maybe we should try.
No, I mean, this means a lot to me. We should definitely help out. You know, this poor man lost his beloved animal. Oh, it just touches my heart deeply. Yes, we should definitely help. Totally.
Well, I am excited to drive a giant cat. I've never done that before either. So, yeah, Did we have to summon him back? I don't remember already.
Well, wait, before we go, I have to have my tour of the Court of Emerald first.
Oh, that is right.
I mean, I'm sure that won't take very long. I know exactly where I need to go. I just need to get there.
As you're leaving?
I mean, I would consider this a quick errand to run before we go find the Millel and Catrick. So I guess I would look over to Irony, who was standing at the door waiting for me, kind of jamming out, and just kind of wave him over.
Irony walks over and says, "Hey, hi, Tryina. Hey, Samoon, Bertie. Nice to see you guys. Oh, shh. It's the big debut. Tread's doing his song. Hold on." And the lights go dim, and a small henfolk halfling man stands there with sweat pouring down his forehead. He kind of leans forward to the amplification and says, "Love song. There once was a henfolk from Phandalin, a lightfoot halfling with no money or land, a lovesick heart and flowers in hand, all for his darling Sherry Ann. Oh, my sunray darling, night sky charming, your eyes melt me into a pile of lovesick goo." And Tread nervously drops the paper, simultaneously doing a bow. Everyone begins clapping. Irony is just like, "Oh, he's been working on that forever." He's a great guy, a real pure heart.
Maybe I should go give him some flowers. He seems lonely.
Well, yeah. Well, Bertie, that'd be nice. He's wrote that for one of his, Sherry Ann, but I mean, yeah, you could go get him flowers if you want. There's some over there. The bookends left some for the witnesses.
Is Sherry Ann here?
No, she's back in Phandalin. He literally traveled here as a pilgrim to gain inspiration to write a love song so that she would marry him.
But he didn't sing it to her.
Well,
he debuted it to all of us without debuting it to her first?
Hey, I don't know. The guy's lovesick. I don't even think it was that great of a song. But
it was a beautiful song.
I live here at Balltop. I hear like some of the best lines of poetry. I mean, but it was good. I'm sure she'll like it. To be quite honest, I think it's good that he tried it out here. He's going to need to practice.
Well, if you don't think that it's a good song, then maybe she won't think it's a good song. So you better help him make it better.
Irony, starts to get a little uppity and says, "Have you been to Phandalin?" They don't know any kind of entertainment. They are a backwoods frontier mining town. I know.
Have you been to Phandalin?
No, I have not.
I'm sorry, I laughed really hard. Well, then how do you know?
Well, I read about it. Reputable sources.
So you take somebody else's opinion in place of your own opinion? Samoon, Bertie, do you think that sounds like a good idea?
Bertie's already headed over to get the flowers to bring to.
Okay.
Bring to him.
I tried.
Tread is standing there, and he's, drinking down a stout pint. Whew. He sees you walking up, and he greets you in henfolk. "The luck of the halfling be with you."
She kind of just tries to straighten her outfit up a little bit, brush off all the dirt and things on her. And then she kind of bats her eyelashes and hands him the flowers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. These are nice.
Well, you just seem like you were lonely, and I just wanted you to know there's other henfolk here. I'm here. You don't have to ask me on a date. It seems like you like somebody else, but I wanted to let you know that I am here if you just wanted to have a drink with some other lady, woman, henfolk.
His mouth instantly goes dry, and he's gripping the flowers so tight, and his hands shaking, the beer starting to splatter. He steadies himself and says, "My name's Tread. Thank you. Yes, I wrote the song. The Sherry Ann was not a made-up word. I feel so stupid. Yes, her name is Sherry Ann. Are you from Phandalin? I'm from Phandalin. thank you for your invitation and for the flowers. I don't want you to waste them. I'm going to Phandalin tomorrow. He looks down at his drink.
Well, why don't you keep the flowers and then you can remember this conversation and I'll probably see you around. Okay, thanks. And she walks away.
Raises his finger to say goodbye, sees you have already walked away. Tread shakes his head and you hear him whisper under his breath at the bar, the song worked. I spoke from my heart and it actually worked a little too well. Bertie, you return to the table with Tryina and Samoon.
Well, I think that went well. I mean, he seems to... We could meet for drinks later. I feel good.
Samoon he's got his face in the spy sign language book. Oh, that was very good, Bertie. Good job. Hey, did you know that this sign means this? He's just like throwing flashing a sign. He's like, isn't that amazing? That is so cool. I like this book.
All right, Samoon, make your investigation check.
Straight 8.
Straight 8. Okay, you're doing okay. It's coming along okay. But you're finding that the dexterity of the fingers is something that you have lacked as of now, and you are learning to articulate using your dexterity with your fingers, getting them in contortionist positions in order to flash the right signs.
My hand is starting to hurt, but I must keep looking at this book. I don't think I can take this with me, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, no one's gonna notice.
The brewery begins to close for a midday cleaning. Each of you are ushered outside in droves, pats on the back from various witnesses, pilgrims exchanging gossip. Samoon, you are right. The energy is very high this morning. As you're walking along the court of air, a familiar whistle reaches your ears. Crankshaft with his morning paper calls out for his dogs, looking left and right. Pete! Repeat! Where'd you go? Where'd you go? A blink dog teleports behind you and tackles you to the ground, Tryina. Another blink dog rushes into your view and rubs a slobbery ball into your hand, Samoon. Crankshaft then huffs as he approaches and, get off there. He begins to apologize for the inconvenience. He lifts you up to your feet, Tryina.
My face is red with anger, but as soon as I see it's Crankshaft, I just go, woosah. I calm down immediately because I have had some rocky relationships with him. Oh no, it's okay, Mr. Crankshaft.
That's all right.
It's totally fine. It's just mud on my favorite white blouse, but it's okay. It'll come out, I'm sure.
Samoon, would you throw that ball, please?
Oh, most definitely. I'm just playing with the dogs.
Both dogs disappear into a puff. Well, he kind of looks at both of you, seeing that you're all fit and standing a little bit taller. He says, hey, listen. I don't know if these book nerds are going to recognize your talents or not. I mean, if you haven't been given a job yet, could I interest you in one of my own?
Oh. Well, she looks down at the little tree that she was holding in her hand that she managed to keep upright when she got tackled down. She's like, oh, well, I'm on a bit of an errand right now, and well, what did you need?
Oh, I don't want to take up any of your time.
Oh, no. I look to Samoon and Bertie to see how they're responding.
Well, Mr. Crankshaft, we wasted your time a little bit earlier, so I can give you this time back. What can we help you with?
Samoon, he flashes a smile at you and his eyes glint into a different kind of pupil. What languages do you speak? You speak Draconic.
I do.
His eyes flash into the eyes of a dragon. And then he smiles. He says, well, it rearranges his cap. If you didn't notice, I have a host of Myconod in my home. Her name is Stump, and she keeps the place clean. She can cook a mean fungal mead. After 2 drinks, you'll be talking philosophy and professing love. I mean, you know what I mean? One of those kind. Anyway, she got some bad news about her family. And wants to go check on them. And I can't afford to leave my home, and I couldn't make the journey. But I figured, considering how important she is to me, if y'all were looking for something to do, I could pay you and cover your travel expenses just to make sure she makes it to the colony okay, figure out what's going wrong, and bring her back safely to me. Is that something y'all might be interested in?
How far is the colony?
Well, it's a journey. It's a couple days into the Underdark. She could take you there straight away. Not saying it will be without incident, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know if you know, but the Underdark is an untamed place of danger, which is why I'm sure torn to let her go by herself.
Yeah, I would not recommend going by yourself if you do not know the way or what you are walking into. It can be very, very tricky down there, let alone all the dangers that lurk around every corner.
Sensing your tone of confidence, he gives a knowing smile and looks intently at your responses.
Well, how much money are we talking?
Well, daily travel expenses. Of course, I wouldn't fund you with too much gold on the way there, just to alleviate some temptation from traders and pirates. But on the way back, let's see, we could do 500 gold for the whole lot, which would be about $50,000 in our currency. So that would be like a year's salary for a person.
Sorry, my silence is being in shock. Wow, that's incredibly generous. But what about Millil Swan?
Beg your pardon? Something you've all talked about, I understand. Like I said, I tell you what, just come by, let me know by the end of the day. You know where my cottage is at, that's for sure. If you need any more details, I can fund you with that as well. And I'm sure if any questions you have, sure they'd be answered.
Yeah, how soon does this need to be done?
She is itching to go back. Her messages have been strange. She said something about a murder in the colony. That's cannot be true because, Myconids put to shame every pacifist you have ever known. They are by far the most peaceful creatures. The idea that one of them would just attack or kill, they won't even do that if there's danger. They are pacifists to a fault, in my opinion.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it, and we'll let you know very soon.
Yeah, of course. Well, anyway, you know where I'm at. Any help would be appreciated. And just let me know either way, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Pete, calls the dogs over. They appear.
Tryina flinches.
They follow Crankshaft back. You are left in the court of air to your own devices.
Wow. I don't know. I need to go into the Court of Emerald. Irony, can we do that now, and maybe we can talk about this as we go?
Upon hearing his name, Irony stops flirting with one of these witnesses and runs back over to you. Tryina, get into a mud fight? I can take you now. I'm actually running very late, so we should probably head over. I can supervise you through the Emerald Court, and Kalan said it was okay if Samoon and Bertie came along too. How about that?
Yeah, that's totally fine. She actually is gonna prestidigitation her clothes clean as she goes. Yeah, that's fine. We can all go together. It'll be so much fun. Let's just go.
Wow, yeah, it will be fun. All right. Irony leads you beyond the Emerald Doors where no pilgrims have ever been, save a few very important persons. Bertie, Samoon, Tryina, as the Emerald Doors do not open, they stand about 18 feet tall. A small opening inside the Emerald Court, a small secret door, begins to glimmer and glow with a gold light and open. As the mages stand there with no weapons at hand, yet you know the magic in their minds could kill a person instantly and on the spot. As you walk into Bald Top Library, towers spire high above you, busy noises from every direction. A young woman swoops down, nearly knocking you over as she laughs and giggles with her hair blowing in the wind, riding aboard a broom. A small monkey, playing cards with himself and flipping coins in the air, stands over in the corner. Stacks of books are being carried by witnesses from place to place. Carts of scrolls and tomes ready to be researched, read, and rewritten. The place is a hive of energy and information, and the roads are perfect cobblestones underneath your feet. As Irene beckons you towards your intended location, Bertie, you hear a pleasant sound as you walk through Bald Top Library in this inner court. What would it be?
Like a fountain or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I go over to a fountain that I see because I hear like the bubbling water and just kind of stick my feet in the water, and I say, "I think I'm gonna wait here."
Bertie diverts from the path and begins playing in the water. Her feet. One of the wardens, wearing purple robes, walks over to you and taps you on the shoulder. "Excuse me, this is not a bathhouse."
"Oh, I'm sorry." And she kind of steps out and just sits down on the side of the fountain. Puts her hands up on her chin. She kind of just sits there.
Irony quickly rushes over to you. "I'm sorry, she's with me. Bertie, stay close, please. You're not wearing any robes. You'll be taken away into a prison cell or some dungeon if they catch you. Come on, stay with me. I'm here to protect you."
"Okay, sorry."
Samoon, you hear a pleasant sound as you're walking through Bald Top Library. What would it be?
As I'm walking, he still has that book open, and he's just looking at signs and kind of glancing up. But I think the sound that catches his attention would be the sound of like students kind of giggling kind of merrily about certain books and stuff around them. He's noticing like just the tone of the students.
Yeah, there's a group of 3 students who have books suspended in the air as if by some magic. And they're taking turns in clockwork fashion going from book to book, proofreading each other's documents. And laughing, they point out the mistake and they break their rotation and begin ribbing each other about the ridiculous mistakes. "I can't believe you would make that. It's like, we have this 18 hours with no rest. I can't live on coffee alone." Tryina, as you're walking through this magnificent court with the cobblestone underneath your feet, what is the sound that catches your ears?
Like Samoon, the sound that catches my ear is the sound of just people everywhere and laughter and merriment. I've spent so long in the woods with nothing but the animals for company that this sound of city life brings me back to my home a long time ago. And I just take peace in that moment. But I'm also a little not at ease. And I pull my hood up closer around and I'm looking around to make sure I don't run into a certain somebody on this side of the wall.
Yes. Irony just motions towards you as if he's welcoming you into this grand mansion. He raises his eyebrows and says, "Well, what do you think? Pretty cool, huh?"
Are all these buildings full of dead trees books? I mean, are all these buildings full of books?
Absolutely, not just books, but little crystal balls full of books that you can read in spherical fashion. There's actual living orations from people long dead, and you can actually hear them recite the books in their own voice.
Wait, you can make books out of crystals and you still choose to make them out of trees?
Yeah, I mean, I don't make the books, but I mean, most of them are made out of... Are they made out of trees? He looks at you, Samoon.
I don't know. What else would you make a book out of? Maybe rice?
Oh, sure, yeah. Rice. I thought you eat rice.
Yes.
Well,
I don't know. I I don't know. I mean, this paper feels a bit funny. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't handle many books, but of the few that I've done, they were very old and dusty, and not well kept. So these books are very nice. So I don't know. I just figured maybe they were made of something, because if this is what paper made by trees is like, perhaps everything else is made by something less.
I've never really thought about it. Anyway, where would you like to go?
Is there anything you guys would like to see?
I wanted to see the fountain, but they told me no. So now there's nothing I want to see.
Bertie, and the young tiefling boy says, you can see the fountain, you just can't bathe in it.
Well, what's the fun in just looking at a fountain?
You get to see the pretty water and know that we have lots of water here, so you don't die of thirst.
But, I mean, you should be able to play in it. Fountains are stupid then.
Irony looks a little like insulted. He puts his hand on his hips like, there's nothing about Boltup that's stupid. Boltup is fantastic. Boltup is amazing.
Oh yes, a home of dead forests and a waste full of water.
But you can drink it.
What is
That's
going
true.
on here? What is
Bertie,
going on
maybe
here?
you're not supposed to get in the water, but maybe you're supposed to drink from it.
Okay.
Let's go give that a try. And we all walk over.
He is left behind, and he's still scratching his head, trying to figure out, wait, what does paper taste like again? You approach the fountain, and it's this wonderful, about 20 feet in circumference, and it builds up to a tower within a tower within a tower, and each tower sprays a different layer of the fountain. And then all of a sudden, as you're looking at the water, it forms into a beautiful woman. She stands up in the elemental form of water, and in her hair are collections of starfish and fish swimming inside of her body. And one of the fish jump out through her hands and splatter on the ground at your feet, Bertie. The fish is just flopping around frantically, gasping for breath.
Does it look like it's a fish? Or is there any magical elements to it?
Oh, it's a fish. Yeah, fish in the pond.
Bertie, put it back! It's gonna die!
Oh, I was gonna cook it.
No! I want to try to smack the fish out of her hand into the water. Can I
Okay.
do that, or...
Bertie, how badly do you want to hang on to this?
Well, I did want a souvenir, and I thought this would be a good souvenir. And a useful one, too.
All right, make your contested checks. Both are going to be acrobatics. Bertie, you can be athletic.
14.
Beat a 14, Bertie, and the fish is yours to keep.
Natural one.
Yes! Sorry.
But you are a halfling.
Dang it!
Oh, that's...
If you murder a fish, I'm gonna cry.
6.
Oh. Bertie, Tryina knocks the fish out of your hands and it splashes in the water, escapes with its life. The elemental woman puts her hands on her hips in a coy way and smirks at you and then begins to wave her finger.
Bertie shrugs her shoulders and just kind of
I'm
walks
gonna
away.
put my hands on my hips and square up to the elemental, be like, honestly, that was so rude. Nereids these days.
Oh, Tryina, make a dexterity save.
Excellent.
Bertie, you as well.
14 again?
20.
All right, Bertie, you catch the edge of the water, but Tryina, you just get splashed. The elemental just douses you head to toe, soaking wet in water. Bertie, some of the water just splashes on you by the perimeter that you were standing in.
I'm slightly disappointed.
We're just wet. We don't take damage or anything.
Nope, you're just soaking wet.
Excellent. And so I've got my little pot with my tree in it, and I'm just gonna be like, this is why I don't like nymphs, and I'm just gonna march away.
The fountain then changes color. Lights begin floating inside of the pond and create a nice little display. A couple of the witnesses stop and stare and clap, enjoying it. There's a painter who's painting the exact same painting, only this time they've included Tryina sopping wet.
As we go back, I'm gonna prestidigitation my hair, and so now it just poofs. Like when you blow dry your wet hair. It's still a little bit poofier than normal.
Bertie, a little bit of water drips on your feet. That's all. Irony is now wrangling you. He's like, Tryina, you just seem to be going from one mess to the next.
You are so charming, Irony. Did you know that? Just so sweet, and you always say the right thing at the right time.
He interrupts you and shows you his badge, and it says, saying the right thing at the right time. He's like, yes, I know. Yes, that's good. Thank you for noticing.
Oh, precious child. I just want to pat him on the head, which my hand is still wet. And then it's like, hey, I was just curious. Where did the bookends stay?
The bookends? Yes. This is a popular tourist site. I will take you right away. And he rushes you off to the tower. And as if by some hand of fate, he takes you and says, this is where the bookends stay. This is their hall. They are separated by quite a bit of distance. But this door right here is one of the bookends. His name is Vaughn. He's a very powerful monk, real warrior of intellect.
You don't say.
Oh, he's amazing. He once single-handedly defended Baldtop from this elemental threat. The evil goddess of winter herself stayed here, and he squared away from her, and, well, his power vanquished her so that she would never come back. Indeed, he is quite a protective force here in Baldtop, which is why it's the best place to live.
So she starts kind of twirling her fingers through her hair like a little girl's like, I met Vaughn once.
I have too.
Sorry. Oh, wow. You don't say, hey, is he around?
Oh, no, he's not here. Samoon, Bertie, and Tryina. The brown doors sports a glittering indigo star painted upon the stained wood. It stands there locked between you and Vaughn's apartment. Meanwhile, Irony supervises you in this moment and begins spouting forth random, trivial facts about Baldtop's history.
Real quick, I was just wondering, if he's not here, I'd love to say hi. Could I just step inside and leave him a note? He'd love to hear from me. I just know it.
You may start off with a persuasion check. It's going to be very difficult.
14 plus 7?
21.
21, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He kind of winces and he just, I don't know. I mean, and then he passes off responsibility by saying, I think it's probably locked. I'm sure it is locked, right? He looks a little hesitant and nervous about this proposition.
Oh, go ahead.
Samoon, any contribution to this challenge? You can tell that Tryina is wanting to enter into the residence, though you perhaps may not know why.
Irony, what is this blue gem on the door?
Oh, that is indigo, actually. It's set to a certain tune, and it is the color of the bookends, the guardians of knowledge, truth, and wisdom.
What do you mean it is set to a certain tune?
Well, every color is on a spectrum, and 440 hertz is the spectrum of indigo. So they have a special code that they use, that they speak within each other. Yeah, it's like a musical language. It's pretty cool. We have the purple color, and he proudly shows his purple vestments because we are the witnesses. Kalan is our boss.
So what does a bookend do? Like, what is a bookend? What is a witness?
Oh, they're like the Secret Service double agents of Baldtop. They go on these special missions and save the world, and if anything like a dragon or book destroyer. I don't know why anyone would ever attack a library, but they're here to protect it.
I mean, we've been attacked a few times in this library. It's been remarkably unsafe since we've gotten here.
Well, the bookends helped you, right?
This is true, and no, they didn't. And
no, we
died.
We basically helped ourselves.
Well, it probably wasn't it was like rats, or not a bad threat, right?
I got stabbed to death.
Okay, Make your persuasion check.
Sorry.
It's a nat 20. With just straight up nat 20.
Yes. All right, so when you say that, I mean, irony just kind of collapses on himself, and his eyes go wide, and he looks at you as if he's just been starstruck. And you see him try to repeat the words, but no voice comes out. He says, "Stabbed to death?" In shock and awe and absolute honor, he stands there and it presents his hands almost as if he's offering something to you, though he has nothing in his hands.
Oh, you need not to give me anything, but you see, and I pull out my shirt and I show him one of the scars. This is where one blade went in, and then I have another one on the back here.
That is so
fast, and I don't know how, so we're kind of trying to figure that out too. But yeah,
man, that's awesome.
Book in there when I fell.
Wow, you should be a bookend. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, if your bookends die a lot, then perhaps so.
He seems quite taken with your story. Bertie, how do you contribute to this challenge?
Well, I think I died too, so does that help? I mean, I woke up. Sometimes when I die, I see a lady, and she looks sort of like a ghost. But then she helps me come back to life. I've died a few times, but then come back to life.
He acknowledges this with the same level of reverence, and then he looks at you, Tryina, and says, have you died too?
No, but I did narrowly escape, and I turned my head to the side where you can see the slap scarred on my face. It was a dangerous day.
He reaches out and tries to touch it.
Flinch back. I'm like, no, you can look, but you can't touch.
Like the fountain, right? Okay.
Yes, like the fountain.
Wait. So, and he looks at you with a smile and says, "You guys aren't really pilgrims, then, are you?" And he gives you like a really obnoxious wink.
No.
No.
We are actually on secret mission.
Oh, I knew it! He gets excited. He's about to wet himself. He's so excited.
And my secret mission takes me beyond that door. Are you able to let us in?
I have the key.
Oh, good. Vaughn's really gonna need what I'm leaving for him. It's important for his next mission.
All right. Every story comes to an ending, so for now we must conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, you should check out Tabletop Audio. You can find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. And take the time to sojourn with us. For articles on playing Dungeons & Dragons, visit Sojourners Awake at www.sojournersawake.com. You will find interesting articles on homeschooling, as well as a new page called The Bookish and the Brave, in which you can discover the timeline of my homebrewed world, Bonzarel. And as always, Sojourner, may your story continue.